arbitrary custody, token security, as well as exactly stablecoins. And then the second category, some things that are novel opportunities that would be just stuck rigidly to that principle of.
Hello everyone, thank you for joining. Welcome the XRP audience. We are still carrying on through with the SEC meeting for as long as we need, and then we will slowly fade into into the Archer Aviation earnings call. So stand by and enjoy the stream.
Paradigms that take place with existing financial infrastructure. Another
in the area of KYC and AML, where not only would it limit some of the frictionless interoperability and liquidity that this technology offers by being able to, or by being forced to, issuer by issuer, fund product by fund product, go through an onboarding and KYC process, but actually,
just let me know in the chat if you can hear the audio, please. We may have some technical issues.
Create a much more robust and transparent AML KYC system, potentially in enabling some form of decentralized utility powered by smart contracts to actually manage a transparent process and ability to port credentials, KYC credentials, across issuers and across fund types. Now, the industry has not yet built such a structure, but there likely will come a time where that happens.
Right, can we hear the audio? Please let me know in the comments.
Constructive dialogue such that we can help shape a regulatory approach to actually unlocking the power of that breakthrough.
We are covering the back of the SEC meeting for as long as we need, and then we'll be joining the Archer Aviation earnings call. Stand by.
We've touched on transfer agents, broker-dealers, Alex, then maybe Christian. You know, as you look at the existing framework, what should change, what's working well? Over to you.
Sure. Yeah, I think with immobilized securities, the structure that we have works very well, right? I mean, as you were alluding to, there's trillions of dollars that is transacted on a daily basis. I think when you move on chain, I think there's opportunity. You know, like I was alluding to, there's really an issuer and there's investors, and then everything else can kind of work its way back from there. Broker-dealers can exist on chain, right? And they can have a wallet infrastructure that can work and facilitate that. National securities exchanges can exist on chain, but don't necessarily need to exist on chain, right? DeFi protocols that facilitate automated market making, you know, there's not really an intermediary there, and that's possible and should be permitted. And so I think, and then I think there, you know, what we have to do is take a step back, look at the various, like I was saying, the various risks that are involved, and ensure that those are being adequately met. But I think one of the things that has been alluded to is arbitrage in a negative way, but we also just brought up the ETF, which is one of the greatest innovations and is driven by arbitrage. And so, like, having the ability to have, and to beat the dead horse, interoperability, or the ability for securities on-chain and securities off-chain to move and go back and forth with each other very much mitigates a lot of the concerns and the risks with regards to price dislocation. Right now, that exists in our market structure, there's securities that are listed in Canada and securities that are listed in the United States, and there's numerous empirical studies that show that they trade within parity because there is this ability to arbitrage and keep prices within parity. So I think all we need to do is ensure that risks are properly viewed and addressed, and we think you can do that through a transfer agent or a third party that is, you know, similar to national rating agencies. They have a technical capability of determining, you know, the creditworthiness of an instrument. Maybe there similarly could be a type of intermediary that can review and judge various DeFi protocols to ensure that they meet certain standards and thresholds for resiliency and technical capabilities. So I think really just right-sizing the risks for on-chain activity and ensuring the ability for the national market system to exist in these subsystems through the ability to move securities on-chain and off-chain, and then filling in the gaps from there with regards to what technical registration is needed is how the approach or the commission should take, rather than saying we have a clearing agency, a broker-dealer, and an issuer in this context, and we need them in this other context. I don't think that's how that rigid approach should be taken.
We are covering back
I
of the
think
SEC meeting.
intermediaries will, and
As soon as we
frankly
finish,
are
we'll be coming
evolving
on to
in
ACHR
response to
Aviation
this
first quarter
technology.
earnings call.
I also think,
Stand by.
and Una raised this in terms of the issuer voice or the investor voice. Intermediaries are obviously a hot topic of debate when we talk about tokenization or digital assets. But if you go back to first principles, I think they have pros and they have cons. And some of the pros are if you're an individual investor and you have the rest of your life happening, you want an intermediary who's going to do that vetting of different chains to make sure that they meet certain standards for security, for resiliency. You want parties to be able to you want to outsource that ability to other parties so that you can do the things you want to do. So I think in terms of the future trend, it really is about choice. There may be some market participants who want a more intermediated interaction with tokenized assets than others. Certainly, they'll take into account costs and what people may characterize as rent-seeking or basically frictions. But they may see trade-offs in terms of the ability of scaling through an intermediary, the ability to deal with concerns about protection, security, and access. And I think that just needs to sort of play itself out organically over time. And the point's well taken. You can have registered entities that are showing up on chains. You can have through smart contract technology the functions of registered entities acting. The last point I would note is, if you are started moving away from the status quo intermediated market structure, and look, I think one of the great promises of this technology is it gives us a new ability, as others have described on this panel, to deal with long-standing frictions that come through the current intermediated market structure. So there's definitely benefits for all here. But one thing we are talking about trading up here a little bit is financial risk for just very, very, I think, fundamental technology risk, relying on chains and smart contracts, automated market makers to be there to perform when you need them for capital formation, for pulling money out of your 529 so you can pay for your kids' college that's coming up. So I think something that needs to continue to remain in focus is what are the technology resiliency standards and who's going to enforce those? Is the commission going to directly enforce those? Or are they going to, again, look to software providers? I know we've tried to get away from that, right? That can be problematic with unintended consequences. But the bottom line is I think intermediaries stay in the mix, but maybe the choice of intermediation is expanded, and that's probably a good thing.
Please hit the like button,
sure
everyone
we
who
get
just
to
joined. We are covering the back of the
regulatory
SEC meeting. As soon as we
We have
finish,
about
we will come
15
on to the
minutes left,
ACHR
just under
Aviation
that.
first quarter
Cynthia,
earnings call.
Commissioner Peirce
Stand by.
on May 8th made a statement about a potential SEC exemptive order that would allow firms to use DLT to issue trade and
We get 100
settle
likes, the video gets
eligible
promoted,
tokenized
and it gets better
securities.
coverage and
Sounds
better
very
audience and better
interesting.
reach.
As you think about this topic broadly, pilots, regulatory sandboxes, what comes to mind for you?
Very much supportive of having more formal programs of the sort, as a lot of firms are investing heavily into developing applications on chain for financial activities. And so there's a few terms that I think have been used across different global jurisdictions for these kinds of programs, whether it's a sandbox, a safe harbor, or a pilot. And they take different forms of whether it is a group of market participants across the entire transaction chain to participate and using real market value in order to demonstrate how it is that this technology can actually facilitate a particular activity, whether it is trading and settlements on a blockchain, or whether it is issuing new products on the blockchain. And so I think all of that is incredibly helpful and productive for participants to be able to actually operate these applications. Some of the challenges, though, is where you start to set, what are the objectives for having this proliferation of projects, and what are the objectives that you're hoping to be able to demonstrate, whether it is for a new market and trading ecosystem. We've talked across the panel today about a number of practical issues. So how do you actually get to a scalable pilot to be able to address many of these considerations? And then the other consideration is global regulatory participation, given how global our capital markets are. Having global policymaker coordination and collaboration as you think about these on-chain assets moving across jurisdictions. Technology is cross-border. How do we, and I think we talked a lot about the word interoperability, how do different regulatory regimes recognize these assets as they become available to individuals within their jurisdictions? And so, the idea of a sandbox is incredibly productive and helpful as we want to facilitate innovation. But I do think that there are a number of considerations that will go into creating a program that will be durable.
Will?
Well, I'm going to echo many of those points and first start off by commending Commissioner.
Hit the like
Hurst
button,
for
everyone.
her
If you want to
remarks
carry on
and
with this
the
stream,
guidance
let's
there
get to 100
develop a
likes,
regulatory
please. It's very
sandbox,
important for
us.
promotion of the video.
We believe the SEC
We are
should
covering
formally
back
move
of the
forward with
SEC
that
meeting.
process.
As soon as we finish, we
Definitely
are coming
support
on to ACHR first quarter
As
earnings
just
call.
discussed, I think one of the big issues is about bringing innovation onshore. So how do we maintain the sort of most trusted regulatory framework in the world and the competitive capability to continue to attract capital? I think comes from the spirit of innovation. And this is something that I think we have the ability to adapt the framework to drive that onshore and to do these safe harbor and pilot programs that allow it to bring it into the appropriate regulatory framework that has served our investors so well. So, whether that is, completely calibrated or time-bound, I think there's the question of how do we implement this? Do we crawl, walk, run into innovation? How do we pull people into it so that we can coalesce around the protocol choices and understand that? And I think key participants like exchanges, the member-based framework, and DTCC can be leaders in this space that enable us to work toward a common solution.
So we have about 8 minutes left. There's two other questions we can get to that I'm not.
26
gonna
likes.
have to
Come
get
on, we can
to them,
crush
but I
it.
wanted to
Do
just
you want to
pause
carry on
and
with the
see
SEC report?
Any of the panelists, as
Let's
you're
get to 100.
synthesizing the different comments that have been made, anyone want to jump in with anything that's lingering?
I'd just like to add one thoughtful request in designing, because I agree with Cynthia and Will's points about, really the benefit of having a robust sandbox environment and what it could create for us. I would just encourage us, though, to make it a practical sandbox, right? A lot of the early sandboxes focused on what could the technology do. I think there's pretty widespread understanding now throughout the world on what the technology is capable of doing. Right, and so I would encourage any sandbox we design at this late stage in the game to be very focused on how can the pilot run in the sandbox, or how can the test run in the sandbox directly inform the creation of legislation or the creation of new regulatory rules that would allow us to improve and move the system forward. Right, I think the time for experimental sandboxes is past, and it's time for sandboxes that are going to prove out how new rules might operate. That would be my only real request for in thinking about and designing this program.
Johnny?
Yeah, and just on that note, being somewhat crypto native, this might seem counterintuitive to folks in the
Come on,
audience. but
21 likes, we can
what
do
would
it.
be really
100 if you
interesting
want to
to
carry
me,
on with the SEC meeting.
Would be able to use
We can do better than that.
Treasury in various forms in DeFi. Right now, the actual user experience to hold a tokenized Treasury is terrible. No offense, but I can't do anything with it. I can look at my securitized account balance, and that's it. But if I could borrow against it, if I could readily swap it, if I could be a market maker and get some yield from the volume that comes through the pool, that would be amazing. And it's at the low end of the risk curve, so frankly, it's not much different than a stable coin. When you get down to the root of it, stable coins are slowly becoming the world's checking account. I think US Treasuries could become the world's savings account. And I think that'd be a really actionable and interesting thing to see.
Another theme that comes
That's better.
up
Come on,
pretty
15 more
often
likes. We can do it.
thinking about
100,
quote,
and then we
level
carry on with the
playing
SEC
field
meeting, and I will stop talking as well.
around
Once we hit
regulatory
100, I will
obligations
stop
with
talking.
TradFi on one hand and then emerging technologies on the other. Una, that it's a broad topic, but what do you think is important for the commission to keep in mind, whether on a pilot, a sandbox, or otherwise? Over to you.
Sure. I mean, I think the important themes are investor trust, market acceptance, and keeping the benefits that we currently have and translating that into, this new technology in terms of how it's integrated into our U.S. markets. And I think it's also important to just take a step back and think about the U.S. public markets as really the primary access point for Americans to be able to take advantage of the economic growth, whether it's for
That's better.
building
6
financial
more
security
likes, and I will
or
shut up.
planning for retirement or paying for college.
Come on, we can do
and
it.
building
Don't be lazy.
generational wealth both as individual families and as a nation as a whole. And we've also talked about the perspectives of corporate issuers in terms of making sure that there is a clear set of rules and obligations and rights that they have by accessing the capital markets, and also just taking on those responsibilities as a public market in the U.S. economy. So I think that's an important piece. And in that context, the Congress has empowered the Commission to promote fair competition. And so my own personal interpretation is that you treat like assets alike, and you treat market participants who are performing the similar functions in the same way. So as we sort of think about all the topics that we've discussed today, and it's probably helpful to think about not just intermediaries or the parties in question, but what is the purpose
100, thank you.
we serve within the financial ecosystem. And we should think about what are the risks embedded, like time delay risks versus economic costs associated with different sort of processes versus speed efficiencies, and how those might also have risks embedded in them, and just sort of figuring out what those are to make sure that those standards and the rules that are applied to all of the market participants are consistent, with the understanding of what the embedded risks are, as well as the sort of the more obvious ones.
Yeah, I couldn't echo more how important the financial markets are in the United States and how impressive and robust the U.S. markets are in the world. I would echo, I think, what Commissioner Peirce mentioned in her in advocating for the sandbox, or in the sense where standing still is falling behind when technological innovation is moving very quickly. And so we need to, with care and creativity, look to foster innovation and leverage and utilize the best technology that we have. I think there's many ways to skin a cat, and so we should not be beholden to using a pair of scissors just because we've used them over the years. If there's an automatic razor, we should use that because I'm sure the cat's been nicked many, many times. And so I think we should kind of internalize the fact that just because we've done something through convention doesn't mean it's the best way that things have been done. I mean, and there's numerous instances where we've had instances where the system has bent but not broken, and we shouldn't then say we have reached, Fukuyama or whatever is great in saying we're at the end of history. We're not at the end of history. We're continuing to innovate, and utilizing this technology can allow for that. And the amount of capital that's locked up for settlement risks and the amount of capital that's not able to be freely deployed is just immense. And so I think I welcome the opportunity for innovation and experimentation, because I think we can move things forward. And the fact that like fractionalization and 24/7 are things that where crypto markets have kind of tried to influence the traditional markets, they're not good fits. Where they are good fits are in the markets where they were created, where things go out 6 to 10 to 12 decimal points, and the markets operate on a 24/7 basis. And so we shouldn't be beholden to the past. We should look to the future, but that doesn't mean we do away with everything. We want to make sure they can all work together.
ACHR Aviation earnings call, first quarter 25, coming shortly. We are just covering the back of the SEC meeting. Please stand by.
We not fall into the trap of incumbents attempting to hamstring new technology players by the same potentially obsolete or due for modernization regulations that they face, as opposed to leaning into the new opportunities created by the novel technology. I think one very natural example of this is that banks to date, for instance, had not been able to engage on public blockchains. And while we advocate a technology-neutral approach between public and private, it's become very clear that the vast majority of traction and utility in this space is on public blockchains. And now, fortunately, there does seem to be an opportunity for banks to be unhamstrung in that way, and to be able to take advantage in the same way that the new technology entrants in this place have been. Just one other clarification on Johnny, on the point around tokenized treasuries and treasury funds today. We can actually now, for the first time, deliver those on a peer-to-peer basis in secondary market liquidity and pledge them as collateral, including in our case with our fund with securitized, although that's relatively recent, so I understand that.
Well, we are
Superstate also does that, FYI.
We are at 3:30 exactly, so I want to thank the panelists. Very thoughtful, very constructive. Thanks for traveling to Washington, and please join me in giving them a hand.
Thank you, Jeff.
All right, I'd also like to echo that thanks. Thank you so much for everyone on the panel. We've had a great first discussion, and I look forward to our next one. Today we heard a lot about how much promise can be unlocked in a tokenization wrapper. Long before blockchain, another great innovation unlocked many benefits in a once new wrapper. It was an ice cream wrapper. Like instant settlement, it offered instant joy. It serves as a snack, a dessert, and an excuse to bond with someone you like. So many utilities in one space, just like tokenization might offer. Before we go out, I ask you to look to the people next to you, and if you don't know them, please introduce yourself. One of the main benefits of these roundtables, other than the discussions we have up here, are the relationships you form. So please continue the conversations you've heard and enjoy an ice cream outside, and we'll meet back here at 4 o'clock for our next panel. Thank you.
Thank you very much for staying with me. That was the end of SEC Crypto Task Force Tokenization Roundtable meeting. You are here, right, for the ACHR Aviation first quarter 2025 earnings call. We started a bit early. We have a good build up. I have a lot of fundamentals. I have some hot news to tell you. But before we do so, we have, how many people do we have watching? Let's have a look. We've got 250 watching. I would like to get 150 likes. If we get 150 likes, I will show you the hottest news that we could have for this earnings call. And I was not expecting this. So let's all do a bit of work. Let's get the likes up. Go 110, that's good. 40 more to go. Please, it's very important for the promotion of the video. That's not for my own benefit, that's for the promotion of the video. The better reach we get on this video, the more people will join us and the better coverage we get. Come on. That's not enough. We have 250 people watching. I don't have a timer. If I had a timer, I would have put it up. What I can do, I've got a clock in here. Shall I use my clock? Shall I put my clock on the screen? No, I won't be doing it. Hit the like button. I'll be waiting for 150 likes. Until we get 150 likes, I won't be until we get 150 likes, I won't be showing you the news. But the earnings call should be starting on the hour, so we have about 1.5 hours. In the chat, we have good audience. Let's have a look who we have in the chat. If we see any familiar faces. We've got, let's go all the way up. Let me just align my screen. Yeah, we've got Martyn watching us. Thank you, Martyn. Eugene, big supporter on X. We've got Stephen, the oil baron, poor man to rich man. Got some new members as well. Walker, thank you. Hello. Henrik, DJ Hayes. I'm saying your name right now. Bob, Brian Bynum, Midnight Bob. Samuel Redner, Bob Lucas. Anyone new? Abby joining us. William. Sensei. Did Sensei send you, or who sent you to the stream? Got Thomas, Papillus 69, Moto 18, one of the newer members. Dalefish, brand new member. Welcome to the stream. Buxom, am I saying that right? Buxom Blonde, 2008, a new member. Welcome to the stream. People need to take public speaking. Oh yeah, that was a bit long, wasn't it? All X, hello, my fellow Czech friend. Ahoy. Steve Mariano, Josh Monroe. Oh, there's a lot of people tuning in. Sab, hello. And we've got the first super chat. Thank you very much, poor man to rich man. Yes, hit the like button, everyone. What's the score now? 132. Come on, we can do better. 18 more to go. You won't believe the news. And you want me to be the first to air this. So let's just do a bit of work. Get those 18 likes in. And I will show you the news. So, today we are covering ACHR Aviation, first quarter 2025. As you can see, I'll be keeping my ear on the stream, on the webcast. Let's see if they start on time or not. Last quarter was fairly decent presentation in terms of quality. We had some news that didn't impact the investor sentiment because we also picked up, amongst the positive news, we picked up a lot of negative news and a lot of downside. The main downside was the balance sheet, which wasn't as optimistic. We picked up some delay on the production line. We didn't have as big progress on the certification. And we've got a message from Saab. We know what time it is, Vaz. Do you want me to do it? I won't do it until we get 150 likes. So last earnings call, we had probably not as positive or strong progress on the FAA certification, the type certification. So that's these things just added up and drove the sentiment around the stock a bit down. I was expecting the same. Okay, so you want me to do the intro? Okay, if you want me to do the intro, just spam the chat with yes. Yes? If you don't want me to do the intro, say no. And I'll be watching the chat. I'm not seeing anything yet. So for today's earnings call, I was expecting about the same, because I could see the development of the sentiment through the last weeks. There is a lot of questions that need to be. No intro. We need to make sure this is the right channel. Well, you know what to do. Yeses started coming. Okay, if I see 10 more yeses, I will do it. Martyn, Josh Monroe, Martyn. No, 10 different people, Martyn. Let's blow up the chat. Sensei, yes. Come on, come on. Two more, two more. Nano? Anyone else? Anyone else? I won't do it without another yes. I'm not doing it. Okay, Abby. Abby is the winner. Abby is the winner. I don't have dark screen, so I can't do the transition, but imagine it's like dark now and it fades in. Hey up everyone. Welcome to Martyn Lucas Investor. I'm Vaz. Do you know what time it is? It's time to start talking eVTOL. Thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed it. We'll be talking about Archer Aviation, first quarter 2025 earnings call for those who just joined in the right time for the introduction. We have 200 people watching, 136 likes. That's not bad. We have some new people joining. Thank you for spamming the chat. Why is Archer Aviation and why is eVTOL important? It's the technology of future. It's an advancement. It's a step up in aviation. It's a step up in urban mobility. That means intercity transport and possibly extra-city as well. This technology, let me show you a video. Who can do it better than YouTube? If I show you this video of Archer Aviation itself. So you can see something what looks like a crossover between a helicopter and an aircraft, a fixed wing aircraft. You have multiple propellers, and the front propellers, they tilt, as you can see in the video, forward and up. Once the propellers are up, that is for the, well, eVTOL, let me just explain the definition of eVTOL. eVTOL stands for Electric Vertical Takeoff and Landing Vehicle. What you can see in this video, we can have both options or both ways how we fly. We navigate or move either in the horizontal direction or we move in the vertical direction as well. The main advantage is that in where you have limited area where you can take off, you can use the vertical takeoff phase, or you can use in the airport, you can use your traditional horizontal takeoff phase. What is a bit, let me play the video again so you have great idea. Did you see the rotors? They just tilted up. Can you see it? So that's for the takeoff phase. Now we have the transition phase. When we tilt the rotors forward, that's the most difficult phase of the flight, and then we just move forward horizontally as conventional fixed wing aircraft. What are the main advantages of eVTOL concept and the technology? Well, first, it's green because it's powered by electricity and possibly hybrid power units in future, in fairly close future. Another advantage is the efficiency. If you look at crowded cities, say, am I showing the right video? I'm not showing the right, I'm showing the right video now. If you look at crowded cities, especially like New York and Los Angeles, the main issue is the traffic. The main issue is the traffic. If you are trying to move from point A to point B in the peak hour, it's horrendous. If you go on the ground level, there's not many options you have how to improve your travel time. So what can we do? We can either go underground or we can go above the ground. If we go above the ground, there is a lot of challenges, but it is reducing our travel time significantly. So what would have been your, say, hour, maybe an hour and a half travel time because of traffic, you can reduce it down to mere minutes. Say if we have 12, 15 minutes, that will probably do it. And that's a massive advantage for people who don't have enough time on their hands. Let me explain. I mean, businessmen, I mean, top managers, CEOs, stars, whoever, you name it. There's a lot of people who don't have enough time on their hands and they are wasting hours just traveling through the city. So this will be the main advantage for this target group. Another advantage is safety. If you look, I'll show you the video again. If you look at the amount of propellers. We have 8 all the way to 16 propellers. It depends on the type of the aircraft and the manufacturer. But if you look at the helicopter, you have only 1 propeller, maybe 2. If this fails, the helicopter is going down unconditionally. Whilst on the eVTOL, you have multiple propellers, rotors. If one of them fails, you still have enough which you can override, and the aircraft can either finish the flight or perform safe emergency landing. So I would say these are the main advantages of, oh, and there's one more, noise levels. These are allegedly much more quieter. We are looking at region between 50 to 70, maybe 80 decibels compared to a conventional helicopter. We are looking at 80 to probably 110 decibels. So it could be quite disturbing in cities and in urban environments. How many likes do we have? 140. How many people do we have watching? We have 208 people watching. Wow, that's amazing. That's my biggest show so far. And that's not everyone yet, because the closer we get to the earnings call, the more people will be coming. I would like to show you one more thing. Let's check the stock chart. Let me know in the chat if you can see it all clear. I will quickly check the chat if I haven't missed any questions. Yes, there was a lot of support. Thank you very much. Thank you, Abby. That was a question. That would be also massively expensive. Actually, the operational cost of, I'm not showing the chat, am I? Actually, the operational cost of the eVTOL will be much cheaper than a traditional helicopter. But if you want to compare this to your taxi cab as a mean of transport, it will be much more expensive. But we are still not reaching the levels, the price levels of a helicopter. If you look at your, say, Uber taxi, obviously this can't land in the middle of the street if you decide that you fancy a lift. Understand this like a network of vertiports and vertipads, like your little stations, like bus stations or train stations, where you can travel in between them. It can't land in the middle of the street, stop all the traffic so you can board and take you home. And also you can't use this for when you go out, when you have a night out, and it's not going to pick you up from your place, from your house, and take you to the nightclub, and then it's not going to pick you up from the nightclub and take you back home. So you can spew out on the back seats, as I don't know whether you do it, I usually do, but it's not this form of traveling. But if we say cost-wise, I would say the estimates are, if you look at Uber, I would say 10x, just a safe number, 10x of what Uber would have cost you. So if you are a manager who is trying to save a bit of time, you will be more than willing to pay this cost, unless you can afford private helicopter. So helicopters can auto-repel emergency land in most cases, I think. Yes, as long as the rotor is not damaged. And we actually had this recently in New York. It was a very bad example. We had 6 or 7 casualties, and there was no way to carry out emergency landing. But that is a good point, yes. Does it take more power to lift off vertically? Yes, it does. It does. I don't know. I don't have any numbers, but yeah, because if you move in the horizontal direction, the thrust is generated by your wings, by what's the word? It's not a drag. Lift. The wings generate the lift. Whilst if you are taking off vertically, it's all about your propellers. Hello, Vazade. No, I'm still Lucas 8. I'm still Lucas 8. There's no such a thing as Vazade, whatever that is. PF erased. I don't know. That's not related to Archer. Thought we had Airwolf already. Doing a fantastic job. Thank you, Vanessa. Vanessa, big Archer investor. Thank you for joining. Haven't seen you for a while. Is it not incredibly dangerous? What do you mean it's not incredibly dangerous? Just can you elaborate your question? I'll be happy to answer. A helicopter uses around $90 of fuel just taking off. Yeah. If you imagine this is electricity powered, look at the cost of electricity. Not unless you have a helipad on your house. Yeah, that's a good point. 10 times Uber is what taxis used to cost. Yeah, that's a good point as well. Sorry, Vaz, possible XRP breakout from 2.48. Okay, we will be keeping an eye on it. Let me know if something is happening. I can bring up the chart on the screen. Can it go glidings? Yes, there are multiple safety system or procedures implemented in the actual vehicle, in the actual technology. I'll be talking about them in one of my videos. Also, don't forget to hit the like button. We are collecting them nicely. We are nearly at 150. We are 145. If we get 5 more, when we get 5 more, I will show you the hottest news we could head for this night. And speaking of hitting the like button, if you haven't subscribed, if you are new to this channel, you are more than welcome. We are giving regular updates on the whole eVTOL market as well. We have a new show now, which will be not next Saturday, but the following Saturday onwards, every Saturday morning in the United States or North America, and there will be lunchtime in Europe and nighttime in Australia. I will be giving regular updates, but also I would like to invite you to join my X account. The handle is @eVTOLHUB. Not only that, you will help me to grow, you will help me on my way up, if you pardon the pun, with eVTOLs, but also I can't fit all insights and news in my videos because I'm trying to keep my videos short and sweet. There's a lot of insights on my X, a lot of news, a lot of updates, you name it. You definitely don't want to miss it. And that also, not that I would like to be flexing on you, and other channels, but when I was promoting, as you can see on the screen, I was promoting this event, and we actually got a like from somebody from Archer, and it was actually the second man in charge. It was Nikhil Goel, the Chief Commercial Officer of Archer. So I don't know, is he watching as well? Nikhil, if you are watching, let us know in the chat. I'll give you a big shout out. Right, so that was the X. Thank you very much. We are one more like away. Let me line this up for you so I can show you the hot news. We are one like away.
From desktop 602K 49U.
Okay, I think we just hit it. Thank you very much. So, are you ready? Are you ready for the hot news? Well, brace up, because we have the new aircraft, which was supposed to be piloted test aircraft, the registration number or certification number 703XA, getting ready for a piloted flight. So this is great news for Archer, and this is something that can definitely win this earnings call to them. I saw another video. Let me have a look if I didn't miss it. I wonder how this happened to leak. Oh, there might be a better one. Yeah, so it's the test ground in California, and you can see the aircraft is piloted and is getting ready for a takeoff. That's amazing. So in a couple of weeks, you will see a video, you will see an update on the actual piloted flight. So that is massive news for Archer. That is something which is massively in favor of today's earnings. I'm surprised they haven't announced this before the earnings. That was something that sort of concerned me, because usually if you have a lot in your hand, you start feeding it through ahead in advance. But we didn't have this, so I'm still on the fence. We might not see as many positive news, but maybe I'm wrong. I was saying, or I have been saying for 2-3 weeks that we are expecting, or I am expecting a sell-off, same as we did on the previous quarter. But I wish I could be wrong, and everyone who is invested in Archer or is trading Archer now, their positions will just hit the roof and break through the all-time highs. But I think we will still have to wait. Don't get me wrong, long term I'm bullish on this technology. I can't be any more bullish, but I think Archer have still a lot of obstacles. They probably bit more than they could chew with their massive PR, which, speaking of which, I can actually show you. I can't show you because I don't have it ready. That's no good, Vaz. That's no good. Let me work on it. I will show you shortly. Let's go through. You can see the stock is going down slowly. Would you like me to give you Sensei's stock chart analysis so you are ready for the actual after hours action? If you want me to give you the stock chart analysis from Sensei, don't want to say live, but on the live stream, drop in the chat Sensei. Give him a shout out, Sensei, and I will bring him on the screen and I will show you the stock price analysis right now. We have a bit of a delay, so I'm waiting. The stream is about 15-20 seconds behind, but I am waiting. I can't see any Sensei coming up in the chat. Please smash the like button. James, thank you very much, James. We already have 153. Thank you. Thank you. Sensei, 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 Sensei. Yes. Okay. Let's bring up Sensei on the screen.
We're going to go straight into the chart. We have Vaz on the show. He does all our eVTOL hub.
has become a member.
Thank you for becoming a member. Vaz is
All
doing
the
a lot
eVTOLs and
of
like that,
content
yeah.
on eVTOLs, and Archer is one of them. He's going to be covering a lot of content on Archer, so do subscribe to the channel if you're an Archer fan. We're getting you prepared for that content, the earnings calls, the earnings reviews, all that sort of stuff, for all eVTOL content. So subscribe to the channel, keep a lookout for our other content creator on the channel. Vaz, you might have already come across him. I'm doing a little bit of a chart analysis. That's what I like to do. That's what I've trained to do. And I'm going to bring it forward to you so you can get prepared for what's ahead. Again, nothing I say during this video is financial advice. It's just my thoughts and opinions. Please do not buy or sell based on anything I say. So Archer is an interesting one. Let's firstly just have a little bit of a zoom out and see where Archer's been previously, because it will give it does help give us an indication of where it can go in the future. So here we go. The all-time high was $18, IPO'd for a normal $10, had that initial pump to the upside, then went into a bear market, tried to find its floor. It found a base at $1.66 with a double bottom. Then it went up back to its levels of resistance, which we were covering live on the show, double top, and it continued going down, found its next higher low. So you can see that there's more people holding it, more institutions holding it. I'll link you to Vaz's video at the end of this. He'll give you more insight of the fundamentals of the stock. But you can see more people are liking the stock, they're not willing to sell, and they're accumulating. So how is that shown on a chart? It's shown by a higher low structure. So the low was higher than the previous one. Then what do you get? You get a higher high. So more people are buying it, they don't want to sell it for lower prices, and then you've got that higher high. You then have that reset, higher low, back above your levels of support, and where you sat right now, you're sat at $9.29. You have broken out of this wedge that we're tracking, that downward sloping sort of wedge, coming in from a bullish move to the upside. So you are expected to move up. $10 would be the level of resistance. that also coincides with the IPO price. So $10 is very much key. $9.89, somewhere around there, is very strong resistance. So keep an eye out for there. Would I be buying right now? No. I would potentially wait to see if we've got a confirmation breakout at $10. And then I'd rather buy back at $10 if we've got that confirmation. Or what's more likely the scenario right now is potentially coming back down to $7.78. That is the level of support. I'll be more comfortable buying at those levels. But long term, this chart's not looking too bad. You've got this downwards wedge. You've broken out to the upside, $10 being next, and then I can very easily see us going back that up to $12 and heading back towards those all-time highs. I'd recommend you have a look at the fundamentals. That will be linked at the end of this video. But Arch Aviation is looking good for now. There will be a video up here linking you to VAS and another video up here linking to VAS. I highly recommend looking at the fundamentals of this stock and looking deeper into the eVTOL space. Until next time, take care of yourselves and each other.
Thank you, Sensei. Thank you, Sensei. That was very good analysis. I hope you liked it. So at least you get some guidance if you missed the video previously. I don't want to give you any financial advice. Don't follow me for financial advice, but I wouldn't be, if the stock starts crashing or selling off, I wouldn't be panic selling. You will have plenty of time, plenty of opportunities. It's been a roller coaster with Archer and most of the eVTOL stocks. If you are a long-term investor, I would just hold. It's not worth it unless... If you haven't sold by now, I would probably just hold it and wait it off. Oh, and then we have a crash on the hour, as you can see. I'm looking out for the shareholders letter, which I should get in my mailbox any minute. So as soon as I get it, we'll have a look into the fundamentals. That is a steep dive, but it doesn't mean anything. That's only first reaction. We can that can easily change the tide once we start talking about the fundamentals and the guidance. For the first piloted flight, you know from my previous videos that I showed you this. Great work by Chris Wagoner. I need to give him massive shout out because he does a lot for the eVTOL market. He does a lot of insights. He covers Joby big time. He shows he reports all their tested piloted flights as well. I'll be doing video on that probably next week. But what we could see was this. This is the aircraft, the 703, AX, and 703 AX, which was nowhere ready for the piloted flight about a month ago, and now we are doing our run-ups. So that's amazing. That's great, massive news for Archer, definitely. Stock seems to be slightly recovering. As I said again, let's see what action we are gonna get. Do we have the shareholder letter? Yes, we got one. So let's bring it on. You want me to put it on the screen? Don't you? Right. Let's put it on this screen. Top. Can you can't see it. What's going on? Oh, you can see it. Right. Are you excited? I certainly am. We have 187 people, 156 likes. Amazing score. Thank you very much. And we got one super chat already. Thank you. Great support, great audience. So we are covering, for those who just joined after hour, this is, let me do it again. Hey up everyone, welcome to Martyn Lucas Investor. I'm Vaz. Do you know what time it is? It's time to start talking eVTOLs. And it's also the time I would like to cover first quarter 2025 Archer Aviation earnings call. We got the shareholders letter in front of me. and in front of you on the screen as well. So let's have a look what we've got. We've got nice picture from their presentation with United Airlines, which are their main partner. United Arab Emirates launch on track. That's something we were definitely looking forward to. We plan to deliver our first Midnight aircraft to UAE in the coming months for its planned deployment later this year. To support these launch efforts, we recently secured design approval for the first hybrid heliport in the UAE in Abu Dhabi. If you've been watching my videos, you could see it. Definitely. New launch edition customers. That's what I've been saying as well. Do we have anybody specific commercially to certain? Oh, so this is just reiteration. I am still expecting to get announcement of a new launch edition customer, probably this month, if not on the earnings call. AI partnership with Palantir. That could be massive long term. I'm not sure how this pans out short term. New York City air taxi network with United. I will show you the video I missed before. We know that Archer had massive presentation, massive PR stunt in New York. There was Jimmy Fallon taking part in the event. It wasn't, I heard from the participants, it wasn't as fancy as it looks in the video, but that's just great PR for Archer, isn't it? So you could see presentation of their, at the time being, only testing functional prototype. You can see this network, proposed network of vertiports in New York. And it was a great PR stunt. Definitely great PR, not only for Archer, but for the whole market and the technology and others. But this is what they reiterate in the earnings call, in the shareholders letter. That's a difficult word, at least to me. Right, I'll cut this short. So New York City air taxi network with United, exactly what I just said. United Arab Emirates launch on track. I'll definitely be doing video on the Mid East aerospace and the eVTOL market, because that's a very interesting topic. In there, it's not more about efficiency, it's more about a status, a statement of being unique and having something what nobody else has. So it's got massive potential in Mid East. Definitely will be looking into that. We got partnership with UAE regulatory GCAA. Yeah, so that will open the gateway for the actual operational flights this year. Hopefully. Pilot training. Okay, that's positive for Archer. That they are training pilots for their clients, for their customers. That's great. New launch edition customers. Yeah, we know about these. Abu Dhabi Aviation, and we also know about Ethiopian Airlines. And things are getting wild on the stock chart. Something is happening. The stock is getting mental now. Jerry and Elba, thank you very much for the super chat. I can't read it out, but I will show it on the screen. Thank you very much, Elba and Jerry, my biggest supporters and fans. So the price is going through the roof. That's amazing. That's what we all wished for. I hope everyone is happy with this. I certainly am, even though I sold about 80% of my position in past 2 weeks. I'm still happy, because it's good for the whole eVTOL market, for the whole sentiment. Let me just quickly check if we have a pre-stream. No, that's not available yet, but okay, let's keep an eye on this. If Sensei has any comments, I can see him in the chat. Let us know. back to the letter. So we have Abu Dhabi Aviation and we have Ethiopian Airlines. First two customers through the launch edition. The launch edition is... Lucas Ritchie says, did you guys just market manipulate? Yeah, I wish, Lucas. Yeah, with 200 people watching, 203 people watching and 161 likes, I managed to pump, and I'm gonna sell and dump all Archer, and it will crash down to $5. Yeah. So what was I saying? Abu Dhabi Aviation and Ethiopian Airlines. Yes, launch edition. Launch edition is sort of, I don't want to say work in progress, but it's not the production, the certification edition of the vehicle, of the aircraft. There's a lot of work to be done, so we are complying with the FAA, but we can now target the less demanding markets in terms of air traffic safety and regulations. So, like you can see on the screen, Mid East and Africa, ideal markets which are not as demanding in terms of air traffic safety and regulations. We can prove our concept and we can have operational data from our flights, from the actual operations, because you can do 1 billion test flight hours and guaranteed on the first operational flight there will happen something you haven't tested for. So this is amazing, massive for Archer, massive advantage for them. What's next? Archer and Palantir. Yeah. I don't think this will be massive drive for the... It's now selling off. Just show you the chart, not the chat. It's now slightly selling off. Let's see how we develop on the earnings call. Palantir are here to develop AI autonomous module, piloting module for the aircraft, for the midnight aircraft, for the midnight aircraft. Also, Palantir are here to optimize and develop and make more efficient their production line. So as soon as we start, as we are ready for manufacture, this will be in massive favor for Archer. Not only they have Palantir on one side of the production, they also have Stellantis who are manufacturing. I think they are Fiat, DS, which is Citroën, Ram in the States, Ford, if I'm right. There's a lot of companies under this. So they have vast experience with the production line and the assembly line. So we have massive favor, again, long-term for Archer. This is the proposed New York City taxi network with United. You just saw it in the video. There will definitely be a vast talk about this in the earnings call. Measuring our certification progress. This is something everyone has been looking out for. This was the biggest question along with the piloted flights. I do apologize. So do we have any number, any traction? We don't. Okay, they will be talking about it in the earnings call. Upcoming events. Make it in Emirates, May the 19th. Sorry, I won't be able to make it there because I'm away this weekend. Paris Air Show. Yeah, I've been working on some things in the background. I'm not saying anything yet. But let me put it this way. There's a lesser chance I will travel to Osaka to show you an eVTOL live. Very nice picture of the presentation with United Airlines. Fleet of the future with United. Yeah, massive partner. They have, I don't remember the exact number, but again, I'll be talking about it in my videos. They have a big stake in Archer through some warrants. They have quite a lot. So that this could be massive partnership between Archer and United. And also delivery looks very, very smart. We still have 200 people watching. Has nobody left? Wow, that's amazing. Thank you very much. Thank you for staying with me. I'm glad I am keeping you hooked. Right, financial review. Total operational expenses. Oh, let me just show you something. The stock is now, the pump is now selling off. I had actually an order for 25 shares. I left only 100 shares in my portfolio because I sold almost 80%, but I left an order for 10.50 and it just triggered it. So I'm quite happy. I took nice profit. But what was it? 40%, 35. The pump is now selling off. Let's see if it comes up. Let's see what the guidance is going to be. And we have more and more viewers. Thank you very much for joining. As I said, this is the biggest live eVTOL show so far, and I will prove you in a minute. Let me just do a little exercise here. Let's open the incognito tab. Go to YouTube and put ACHR Aviation earnings, and let's go to live, filter live, and there's only 2 channels broadcasting this live so far. There might be some emerging who will be doing just the earnings call, but there's only 2 channels doing this live. That's great, and we have 213 people for now. I expect the number will go a bit higher the closer we get to the earnings call. Total operating expenses. We have 144 million. That's a bit more than we expected for... No, it's not. That was non-GAAP operational expenses. So we are within the guidance. That's good. The company is not spending more money than they should. It looks like they are on the track with their plan. Cash equivalents. That has increased. We'll definitely hear something in the earnings call. I won't be looking into this. I won't be wasting too much time. But that is a massive advantage for ACHR. Let's skip this. Total operating expenses. Yeah, 144 million, which increased by 19.8 million from the fourth quarter. So it's not a massive increase, and definitely that will be justified, I think, in the earnings call as well. Right, net loss and adjusted EBITDA 93.4. Net loss decreased by 104.7 million from the fourth quarter 2024. Okay, I would like to hear some guidance on this, because I don't want to be diving into it too deep and then start running in circles, because unless I've got the numbers in front of me, I struggle to remember all the numbers. For the first quarter 2025, adjusted EBITDA 109 million, an increase of 14.2 million from the fourth quarter 24. So yeah, that's not so bad. This is interesting. Second quarter 2025 financial estimates. We anticipate adjusted EBITDA to be a loss of 100 million to 120 million for the second quarter. That's good. That means we are slowly upscaling. We are moving forward, but we are not spending significant amount of money. Balance sheet. Yeah, we can see massive difference on the cash and cash equivalents. That is a lot. I wonder where this is coming from. That's interesting. Okay, I won't be boring you with this. You know where to find the shareholders letter. It's on their website. It's in investors tab. and also you will see it on your analysis software you are using. Okay, do we have any more? Yeah, I will wait for the earnings call for the actual guidance. Wow, interesting news. Let's have a look at the chart. Chart, not chat. Right. I'm really curious how this is going to come out on the guidance. I'm very curious. Let's see who we've got in the chat. We still have about 200 people watching. Thank you everyone for joining. We have 168 likes. That's great. Those who just joined, we are waiting for the live cast of the first quarter 2025 earnings call for Archer Aviation, as you can see above me in the header. Let's have a look at the chat. Who we've got here? Do we have anybody new? Vanessa joining. Matthias. Sab. James. James wasn't here before, was he? DJ Hayes. Hola Quetal. I'm definitely not saying it right. Songs for Space. Hello, welcome to the stream. DJ Hayes. Nimisha is here. Hello, Nimisha. And Kazansky. Sold 1050, bought back 928. Brilliant. Lovely, mate. Well done to you. Well done to you. Do we have any Archer investors here? I would like you to put in the chat, don't tell me your position, don't tell me your financial situation. Just tell me your average. I'm very interested what your average is. I will tell you mine in the very second. My average is, just because I quickly bought 100 shares just as soon as I found out about a piloted flight, which was on the call, on the stream, literally on the stream. So my average is 8.27. Let me know what your average is. I'm very intrigued how patient investors and how tactically we can play this. 952 first input. Day trader. Do you want to do day trader of the day? Yeah, I think we should. Let's finish the Archer averages, and then in 2 minutes we will do the day trader of the day. I don't have the music, but I can hum it. Or right, what we've got there? 7 from Czech Republic. Ahoy. 7. That's good. Average 730. Walker, Jason, 898. Good. Anyone else? I'm still high. Where I bought in years ago. Yeah, Vanessa, she's very patient. It will pay out, Vanessa. End of the year will definitely pay out. Jose Grau, I'm not sure I'm saying that right. Poor man to rich man, 910. Jose has got 789. Good. Kazansky, 914. Working on it. Good. Sasha, 895. So that's telling me we have either investors who bought it ages ago. That's the one. That's the one I was looking for. KZ, Amel, Xamel, whatever. 522. Yeah. We don't have many investors here who would have very low average. That is telling me that the sentiment around this stock is very explosive and can be probably very volatile, as well as the stock price. We can see it's inching up now, but if you look back, actually back to previous week, we were around $7. We've got more averages coming through, 910 and 773. First time during stream. So Sophia bought it during the stream. Okay, congratulations. So yeah, don't be surprised if you see a lot of movement either up and down. The stock, all eVTOL stocks are fairly volatile. Archer, they tend to pump through their PR, and then there's a lot of expectations. They put themselves in the spotlight, and then sometimes it happens that the stock sells off. Got more from Matthias, 831. Am I saying that right, Matthias? Because you are from Norway or Denmark. Am I saying that right? 825. More averages. Okay, fair enough. So for Sab and whoever that was, who was it? Brian. Brian, let's do the day trader of the day. I will go first. I am up 6.7. Way, and I've been taking a lot of profits today as well. I have taken about probably 2%, maybe 2.5% of my portfolio in profits. MSK, thank you very much for the support. Lovely to see you here. I'm very happy to have all the good Lucasades. Right, day trader of the day. Can you hear the music? I can't. It's playing in my head. Come on, I can see some... poor man to rich man. I might show you the chat as well, won't I? Poor man to rich man, up 2.2%. Brian Bynum, 4.11. Santa Moon, up 7.1%. Phoenix... I'm not even attempting to sing, Brian. Sasha 5.08, Vanessa 2.45, Kazansky 8.5. So far the winner. Great. DJ Hayes 4.37. Profits last week. Steven 2.2k. Congratulations. Do we have any more? Do we have any more day traders coming through? The song is nearly over in my head. I'll have to start focusing on the earnings call. Right, I will be keeping my eye on it. The winner for now is Kazansky, 8.5%. Very good. Sab, 3.58 stocks and up 3.61 on crypto. They don't add up, Sab. Yeah, that's your average. It doesn't add up. MSK up 5.6. Very good. Very good numbers. I hope everyone had a very good and profitable day. If we look at the chart, we can see Matthias 10.87 now coming through. So we may have a winner. We may have a new winner. And he's a member as well. Very good. Let's see if we get somebody outbidding him. The stock is slowly going up, but again, it can all crash with the guidance. They can mention something that will rub the investors in the wrong way, and we will have a crash. We will have a sell-off. This is a long-term play for me. Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree. This is a long-term play. So let me just refresh if we have any update on the cast. No, nothing. We have about 35 minutes to start the actual earnings call. Those who just joined, we are waiting for the live cast. We have about 35 minutes. This is Martin Lucas. I'm Vaz. It's time to start. It's time to talk eVTOLs. This is the biggest live eVTOL show on YouTube. ACHR Aviation first quarter earnings call. Let's check quickly Twitter or X if we have any updates, if we have any more rumor, any more hot news. I was actually expecting, because today everyone was talking about Seattle. Everyone was talking about Seattle. It's supposed to be the next North American city where we would be building our eVTOL network. But I think that would have been in the shareholders letter already. So maybe we'll get surprised, but I don't think it's happening on this call. So do we have any news? I've got a new follower. Thank you. Let's see quickly if we have any more news, any more rumors. ACHR. There is a good. I will actually show you those who are on Twitter or X. If you go on your X, go to search there. You can't see the search bar because it's cropped from my screen. But if you type in the $, and ACHR, which is the ticker symbol, and go to latest, you will see all the recent tweets related to Archer. So we have some financial indication. Oh, that's quite handy. Earnings per share, positive 0.13. So that is what shot the stock price up, the earnings per share versus the estimated 0.04 negative. Oh, no, sorry. That's not Archer. That's not Archer. Right, anyway, Archer beat on that, and as well. Instead of negative 0.22, 22 cents, they have negative 17. That's good as well. Revenue not specified versus estimate. All right, so revenue is not specified, but the estimate was 1.83. Yeah, that's probably one of the reasons why the stock shot up. Do we have anything hot? No. Adam Goldstein. Archer Aviation's pushing the boundaries of what's possible and reshaping the future of aviation for years to come. As I've talked about before, 2025 is an inflection point for Archer. On the commercial front, after years of engineering work, of flight tests, I'm not gonna read it. I'll get bored and I will bore everyone. But we have some positive news. Adam Goldstein is seeing it as positive as well. Let's see any update on the testing aircraft fleet as well. Got one more super chat from Elba and Jerry. Another $10. Thank you very much. Thank you. So we have 4 super chats already. That's good. That's solid. I wonder how many super chats does Martyn get on his earnings calls. Just saying. Just saying. Do you have any questions? Just fire them away in the chat below, or whichever side of your screen the chat is. If you have any questions, we have a bit of time. More than happy to engage with you and give you some answers. In the meantime, I will tell you about tomorrow. Tomorrow we are covering earning calls for eVTOL companies back to back. Tomorrow morning, just after this stream, first stream coming is Sensei's breakfast show. He will be doing his usual stuff, talking about the news, the forecast for the market. If you ask him, he will have a look for you at the Archer chart as well, because I think he might have some update developed through the night, and I believe he will give you the short-term indication as well. But also we are covering Vertical Aerospace. This is one of their competitors, and Vertical Aerospace first of all, nobody is covering Vertical Aerospace apart from Vertical Aerospace and us. And Vertical Aerospace announced today, you could see it in the previous video, which was live, where I was with Martyn talking about the news. They have announced that they have been working for 18 months developing a hybrid power module or power unit. That means we are now not only relying on electricity, which has got limited range, we are now going from 100-mile range up to potential 1,000-mile range. So we are 10xing our operational range. That is amazing. That's massive news. Joby Aviation have been developing this, but their proposed range was about 550 miles. What Vertical Aerospace did, they put themselves, I don't want to say on par, but on very good competing position with Archer and Joby. So you don't want to miss this tomorrow morning pre-market on this channel. We will be covering this live. And I was going to say something interesting and I've lost my track. So we will get to it. Oh yeah, definitely. Even if you're not interested in the stock, you will see amazing presentation, great professional. You will like it. You will enjoy it. Do we have any questions? Let's check the chat. If you're okay sharing, how much of your portfolio do you have in eVTOL? A lot. I can have a look now if you bear with me. It is just because I sold off Archer. So vertical aerospace 25%, Joby 18.5, Archer 8 pushing 9. I've got New Horizon aircraft. That's just a long shot. I'm waiting for that. I will explain it in one of my videos. Got 1.3%, and that's it. That's it for now. Those three: vertical aerospace, Joby, and Archer are the main players for me. And I've got over 50% of my portfolio in there, because I'm very positive and I'm very strong on the technology, and I believe this concept will fly, if you pardon the pun. This is the best channel, and we have the greatest investors family, the Lucas 8 family. Thank you very much. Eat, Trade, Travel. Great show. Thank you very much for your support. There's the super chat from Elba and Jerry. Right, let me just check the stream quickly. No update yet. We are about 25 minutes away before we commence the actual cast of the earnings call. Right, so this is out of the way. I will show you something interesting as well. Why do we have the partnership with Palantir? Because
Duran,
let me just play you this.
The systems were developed when Elvis was a star. Rolling Stones were a star. Goodness. When Duran was making music, when we go back to the 60s and 70s, we laid out a lot of the infrastructure. It looks like it was from, remember the movie War Games or Apollo 13? It looks like equipment from the movie sets for those movies. It looks like we got the infrastructure from the Smithsonian, but it's not. It's the equipment that we use in American air traffic control towers. Really, really old. It all has to be brand new, state of the art. And, you know, with regard to air traffic controllers, we're 3,000 controllers short. They didn't stand up the school during COVID. Wow. And as controllers were retiring, they didn't have a pipeline of new controllers coming in through the academy. So we've done two things. Air traffic controllers who can retire after 25 years of service, we're going to pay them a bonus. We're going to ask them to stay past their retirement date to serve their country. I think we're going to get a lot of controllers to do that. But then we're going to expand the pipeline at our academy in Oklahoma City to get the best and the brightest air traffic controllers through that system and trained up. And then, you know, I think it's going to take us, you know, a year to 3 years to get fully staffed. Here's an example. I can take one of the most complicated air systems, say like DC, the Potomac Tracon around Washington, D.C., take a controller from there and move them to New York. It takes them a year to get trained up on that airspace. So you just can't move controllers around. They have to be trained in the airspace in which they work, and that takes time. And so we're navigating the mess that was left to us. We're hiring more air traffic controllers. We're fixing the system. But again, it's going to take time.
So what he is hinting at is that the air traffic control system, as well as the staff, possibly are a bit out of date. No offense to the staff, but it will be difficult to replace them and implement the new staff in there, replacing the old experienced veterans. What is the idea is to probably completely tear down the air traffic control in United States and maybe North America as well, and rebuild it from the scratch. Saying that, there'll be a big implication of AI and autonomous technology and modules. A lot of Palantirians, a lot of funds and investors in Palantir are thinking that Palantir is the greatest fit for this purpose. But let me just show you something. I quickly did this. I was getting ready for the earnings call, and I was curious, who would Palantir be competing with? And I asked ChatGPT, just to give me some names. If we rule out the, I won't say foreign, the abroad companies, and we focus only on the home companies. So let's have a look. We have France company, that's irrelevant because there will definitely be involving the home-based company. So we have Raytheon Technologies, major defense and aerospace contractor with a focus on air traffic management, cybersecurity, and network communication. Specialization, surveillance, radars, satellite communication, and cyber-resilient air traffic control solutions. Interesting. We have Indra Sistemas from Spain. We have Honeywell, which I think will be one of the main contenders. Strength, major aerospace technology company with expertise in avionics, communication, and cybersecurity. I will definitely be focusing on Honeywell in one of my future videos because it's a very interesting company. Specialization, navigation and communication systems, avionics, cybersecurity for aviation. We have Leonardo, which I would be quite strong on Leonardo as well, but they are not based in the United States. But we have this massive animal, Lockheed Martin, and I think somebody like Lockheed Martin could pounce this over Palantir, or they might have a joint venture. So strengths, major aerospace and defense contractor with extensive experience in command and control systems. Specialization, military grade ATC air traffic control systems, secure communications, satellite based navigation. We've got somebody from Austria, Frequentis. We've got Saab, S-A-A-B, not Saab Shergill, from Sweden. We have Harris Corporation, L3 Harris Technologies from United States, a leading provider of secure communication, surveillance, and automation for air traffic control. Specialization, data link communication, surveillance, and secure networking. So just if you hear that Palantir will be developing the new air traffic control network and system, not necessarily. It's not given. These are just rumors. I would wait. Don't get me wrong, Palantir is probably good investment for long term. Martyn will probably explain better why Palantir is a bit expensive at the moment, but long term Palantir can be big player. Their partnership with ACHR is definitely beneficial for ACHR, but let's wait. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let me just turn off the fan. I will bring you the chart because I'm getting cold now. I have a massive fan blowing in my face. So, the stock is... It will be probably moving sideways for the rest of the day. Who do we have in the chat? Do we have anybody new joining? We have 145 watching. That's great. If you're okay, Shane, yeah, answer that. Great show, thank you. Do you think there will be a bounce tomorrow on vertical shares? Well, we could see a big bounce today. If I show you, the chart, trading view. Just bear with me 1 second. I will show you the chart quickly. eVTOL. We had a massive upside today on vertical aerospace. Can you see the chart? Yes, you can. That was pre-market. Where's pre-market? We were just over $4. We were $4.20 something, and up on the news, we went all the way up to nearly $5, which seems to be our resistance now. If I measure, where's the tool? If I measure the difference, what it made, we are looking at 18% upside. And on the earnings call, Vertical Aerospace have been feeding us with a lot of news recently. And if you had only few good news, that's something you want to hold for the actual earnings call. I am expecting the earnings call is going to be good. Again, not a financial advice. I don't want you to start buying Vertical Aerospace in case it crashes tomorrow or if it retracts. But for long term, Vertical Aerospace is a good investment for me. Let's see what is Archer doing. Going sideways at the moment. Steven just sent something. General chit chat. Pivotal testing in Tampa, Florida, eVTOL. What? Well, let's have a look. Let's have a look. What we've got from the Florida man. Discord general chit chat. That's interesting. Let's have a look. Let's tune into that. You would like some audio, wouldn't you?
Today, we may not be traveling through time, but a flying car may not be such a stretch anymore. Regina Gonzalez is live to show us a demonstration that's bringing the future to the present. Hey, good morning again.
Hello, everyone. That's right. We are hanging out in downtown Tampa where Special Operations Forces Week is underway. And obviously that comes with a lot of really cool demonstrations. But one site that has specifically been quite the spectacle is being called what's dubbed a flying car. We're actually about to get a little demonstration ourselves here in just a minute. This aircraft
we have about
vehicle,
15 minutes.
You can technically call it both, was created by a company called
We have about 15 minutes before the actual cast. They already started broadcasting the pre
right off the bat, can you tell us what this
cast.
is?
So we have about 15 minutes to start the actual earnings call.
Vertical takeoff and landing aircraft.
An eVTOL.
An eVTOL, that's right. And its capacity is one person, and it is robust, and it takes off like a helicopter, cruises like an airplane, and then you can land again just like a helicopter. It's in the ultralight category. This one is built deliberately engineered for very, very low mass to fit into that category. And it's something that you can learn how to fly in a couple of weeks and actually take one home to go fly in unrestricted airspace.
I think that's what's so incredible to me is that you don't need a pilot's license in order to fly it. How is that?
Well, the ultralight category does actually permit non-certificated pilots to fly an aircraft. Oh, and here he goes.
Oh, here we go.
He's up and he's cruising by pretty quiet, isn't it?
Really not that loud.
So when he's in cruise flight, that forward flight, at 200 feet, which is more typical cruising altitude, you might not actually hear it at all. It's very low noise. When he's in hover, it makes a little bit more noise, but even then, it's pretty quiet. And off he goes. He's going to make another turn, probably come back and see us in a second. This aircraft has been in development for 13 years. And the company was actually started in Canada quite a while ago. It moved to the Bay Area after it got, the San Francisco Bay Area, after it got some attention from some key investors. And it has had multiple generations of development and thousands of flights, many of them unmanned, and we've moved to manned flight as a predominant mode of testing flight right now. This is responses. We've done a couple tech demos in Southern California over the course of the last year, and hope to be operational in 2 sites by the end of the year, doing 911 response when time really matters, and that aircraft can get there with a paramedic much faster than the ambulance does, which is dispatched as well.
That's amazing, and I feel like it would be an incredible tool, especially with how swift and efficient it is. Obviously, that's one of your main goals. Is the overall goal to look like the Jetsons in a decade? What does that look like?
Well, you hear the term flying car over and over again, and we did have an early access program, and about a half a dozen private owners actually own our developmental aircraft, which is called the Blackfly, in advance of the Helix deliveries, which start in December. And we do have at least one of those folks who likes to call it a flying car. It's not a term we typically use because you can't drive it on the road like a car. But it really is the first step towards the Jetsons, if you think about it. And people see it, and that's the first thing that comes to their mind is the Jetsons.
Wow.
So, yep. And it's a way that, you could be up and enjoying the airspace safely in a few weeks' time if you wanted to be an owner and you had a good place to fly.
Well, I am looking forward to that. Maybe I'll be in one myself. Ken,
maybe. Right, there is a lot of startups. Thank you, Stephen, for sending that. That's amazing. That's great. The company is called Pivotal. I know about them. I'm not following them. These startups, we have probably over 100 of these companies who are trying to develop their own concept of a flying car or a single-seater or an ultralight vehicle which can take off vertically and horizontally and is powered by electricity. I haven't been covering these because you can trade only a handful. You can trade Archer, Joby, Vertical. You could have been trading Lilium before they got bankrupt twice. We've got Eve. We've got Blade, who are not directly involved in the actual eVTOL production. We have EHang, definitely. That's a massive player. And I think that's it. From the purely eVTOL manufacturing companies, you have only these 7 or 8 you can actually trade. New Horizon aircraft. So that's our number 8. But to my knowledge, there's not so many companies that are publicly traded. However, there's a lot of interesting concepts and a lot of news and interesting videos, which I would love to show you on my Saturday morning shows. Those who just joined, we are waiting for Archer Aviation first quarter 2025 earnings call. The cast is supposed to start in about 10-11 minutes. Hit the like button if you haven't done yet, but we've got quite good score. We've got 185 likes. Ooh, how about that, Martyn? How about that? And I will be covering. I've been covering eVTOLs on this channel for a while, and I will be covering eVTOLs regularly every Saturday. Not the next one, but from the next one on, from the following one onwards. Every Saturday morning on the live show. Same as Sensei does at the end of the weekend, the opposite end of the weekend. Sensei does Sunday evening. I do Saturday morning, which is the hangover prime time, as I call it. So definitely you are more than welcome to join me. I'll be showing you all these startups, news, updates, you name it. Also happy to answer your questions. Let's have a look at the stock, what we are doing. Yes, we are going sideways now. So we had a massive pump, we had a sell-off, and now we are going sideways. What we've got, who we've got in the chat, we've got Keneal. What company is that? Yeah, that was Pivotal. Oh, Stephen just answered, thank you. Certificated is a funny word, only used in aviation folk, yeah. Yeah, Eve and Blade. I will be looking into this for you, Matthias, don't worry. Do you still own some eVTOL? Yes, I've got 1,000 shares of Vertical Aerospace. And actually, in tomorrow morning, I will tell you how to trade Vertical Aerospace. Not how to trade it, but there are certain levels you should be aware of. And I will give you these little background information. Let's just check if the... Oh, I've got music. Let's not play the music. Yeah, we are still waiting. We are about 8-9 minutes away from the live cast. Hi everyone. New Blade, thank you for joining. Glad to be here among the eVTOL Archer fam. Dieter, you said you are covering it yourself. Thank you very much for joining. What I did, I was a bit cheeky, and I did exactly what I showed you like a minute ago. I put on X in the search bar, hashtag, the $, ACHR, and I found the biggest accounts, the biggest animals on X who recently reported about Archer. And Dieter was one of them. And I actually sent him an invitation, and he said he didn't say he was going to join me. Thank you very much. Thank you, Dieter. I do appreciate it. And New Blade as well. Thank you. Thank you for joining. I do appreciate the certain people I've been talking to and been aware of from the, I won't say from the industry, but from the market. It's nice to see. It's nice to see these people together and coming to me. That's a great satisfaction. New Blade says lot of nothing in their shareholders letter. Yes, exactly. I think I figured out why the stock priced. It was they pulled out 200 million out of thin air, probably. They beat the guidance, and that's probably the reason. And also the piloted test flight coming soon. Oh, you were? No, I was looking for someone to cover the earnings call. Thanks for doing this. Well, thank you for joining. I do appreciate it. I do appreciate it. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe, because we are doing eVTOL content regularly. Tomorrow morning, we are doing Vertical Aerospace, who we had massive news this morning, and it seems like Vertical Aerospace are going to be, don't want to say on par, on level, but they will be very close to start competing with Joby and Archer. So definitely tune in tomorrow morning, pre-market. Let's check the actual cast. No audio coming through yet. We've got just music. We are not playing this for copyright reasons. We have 188 likes. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Shall we hit 200? I think we will hit 200 through the call. Let's have a look at the chart action. Yes, stock is going sideways. Done and done. Thank you, Dieter. Got a new subscriber, and we've got a new fan. Thank you very much. New Blade, Grok says cash position. Yes, that's correct. That's correct. Let me just quickly show you the shareholders letter, get back to it. Let's relapse to it again. For those who just joined, we are literally 5 or 6 minutes away from the cast of the first quarter 2025 earnings call for Archer Aviation. This is the cash and cash equivalents position. So they pulled out almost $200 million from somewhere. No doubt we will hear this in the earnings call. This could be some warrant exercises, whether it's Stellantis or whether it's Delta, possibly. Sorry, United. I keep mixing Delta and United. So definitely we will hear an update. As you could see in my previous videos, there was also a lot of institutional investing as well. Not necessarily from the recent time, but from past months. So this could be reflected in the balance sheet as well. I am now checking the cast. We are still playing music. Do we have any more questions? I do love your questions. That helps me so much. Not that I would be clueless without them, but I prefer the engagement and interaction with you. Chart, no progress, no update. So far it looks like it was good for a nice swing trade. Brian, super chat. Vaz is live. Yes, I am. I am. Thank you. Thank you. This is actually my premiere on the earnings call on the main channel. So thank you very much, Martyn. Hopefully you'll be happy with the numbers. You will definitely be happy with the super chats, because I think it's super chat number 5. How about that, Martyn? Last time you did Archer, I was the one super chatting you and telling you, thank you, Martyn. I would rather watch your back than being in another channel full of trolls and idiots spamming the comments. Do you remember that? And it was on extra channel. You broadcasted it on the extra channel. You set it up like 10 minutes before the cast. And that was amazing. Thank you. And the last one, I was covering myself. That was my premiere on the extra channel. And now, here I am. Prime time, main channel. We are still waiting for the cast. Just music going through. Love the clean banner look, by the way. Thank you very much, Dieter. I'm trying to make my own layout. If you have any suggestions, let me know. I was going to put up the chart, but I can't squeeze that all in. There's a lot of work to be done, but for now, that will do. Sab, how many hours they can fly on full charge? That is a great question, Sab. The battery capacity, they are designed. The electric version is designed for shorter trips. So if we are talking the range of, say, 10 to 20 minute flight, which we can cover 15, 20, 25 miles, depending on where we're traveling from and to. So the idea is to carry out our trip, land, do a rapid recharge in 10, 20 minutes, and be ready for another trip. Saying that, we still can do probably 100-mile distance. The range of, usually, the claimed range or max range is 100 miles for the electric platform. If we are looking at the hybrid platform, whether it's hydrogen or diesel turbine and engine or whatever that can be, we are looking at multiples of that. But again, that is a fresh new technology that is still in development. That is something to be fitted in the actual electric version. So we are sort of upgrading. It's like if you have a car where you fit your diesel and your petrol engine or your electric and motor. So think of it this way. You have the same module, but you are just fitting different power unit in there. So yeah, the idea, we are measuring time, say 10-15 minutes is the intention of their trips. Distance, very short distance, intercity, say 10 to 20 miles, rapid recharge, another trip. And the battery lifetime is thousands, probably up to 100,000 of cycles, depending on each manufacturer. Let me just check the cast. We should have been starting any second. Please bear with us. We are ready for the first quarter 2025 earnings call, Archer Aviation, starting any second. What is the chart doing? We might be slightly pulling up. Let's see what the guidance is bringing us. I think the music stopped.
And thank you for attending today's Archer Aviation
Showtime.
Q1 2025 financial results conference call. My name is Cole, and I'll be the moderator for today's call. All lines will be muted during the presentation portion of the call, with an opportunity for questions and answers at the end. If you'd like to queue for a question, you can do so by pressing *1 on your telephone keypad. I'd now like to pass it over to Eric Lentil. Please go ahead.
Thank you for joining Archer's earnings call. This is Eric Lentil, Archer's General Counsel. During today's call, we will be making forward-looking statements. These statements are based on assumptions as of today, and we undertake no obligation to update them as a result of new information or future events. There are risks and uncertainties that may cause our actual results to differ materially from those contemplated. For more information about these risks and uncertainties, please refer to the risk factors in our SEC filings. Today, we will also be discussing both GAAP and non-GAAP financial measures. A reconciliation of those financial measures is included in today's shareholder letter and earnings release. And now I'll turn it over to Adam. Adam?
Thanks, Eric. All right, let's dive in. Archer's pushing the boundaries of what's possible and reshaping the future of aviation for years to come. Today, we're going to talk about how we're making that future happen. As I've talked about before, 2025 is an inflection point for Archer. On the commercial front, after years of engineering work and flight tests, the team is focused on transitioning to piloted operations and early commercial deployment. We remain on track to launch later this year in the UAE and are preparing for subsequent deployments with Midnight, Launch Edition customers, and several other international markets. The Archer Defense team is deeply integrated with their counterparts at Anduril through our exclusive partnership to build the next-generation hybrid electric VTOL for the U.S. and its allies. All of this is complemented by the work we are doing to build an AI-based aviation software platform of the future in partnership with Palantir. Our progress speaks for itself. but it's made even clearer by the caliber of the companies who have chosen to partner with us. Anduril selected Archer to jointly shape the next generation of defense aviation. Palantir chose Archer to pioneer AI-driven aviation technologies. And soon, we'll be announcing what I think will be one of the industry's most important partnerships. Stay tuned. Today, I'll share more about this quarter's progress and what you can expect to see over the remainder of 2025. At the risk of sounding like a broken record, our number one goal remains to bring Midnight safely to market as quickly as possible. This is the impetus behind our Launch Edition program. We are doing something that has not been done in decades, bringing a new type of aircraft to market. The launch program creates a scalable commercialization framework for safely deploying aircraft in early adopter markets. The goal is for us to demonstrate the aircraft's capabilities, drive public acceptance, build operational excellence, and generate early revenue. We remain on track to deliver our first piloted aircraft as part of that program to Abu Dhabi Aviation in the UAE later this year. We've already started the flight test program for that aircraft here in California, and we expect piloted flights to begin in the coming days. I think it is important to revisit how we got here. We started with Maker, a sub-5,000-pound aircraft with a 40-foot wingspan. It was clear to us the size of that aircraft platform would not support the payload necessary for the business case, so we chose not to take that aircraft through to certification and mass production. Instead, we designed and built Midnight around the same configuration, but scaled up to 6,500 pounds with a 50-foot wingspan. We believe the industry will consolidate around that size of aircraft in order to support a pilot plus 4 passenger payload. The second key decision we made was to shift away from pouch cells, which we used in Maker, to cylindrical cells used in Midnight's battery pack. We made this decision for multiple reasons, but primarily because of the concerns about the safety and reliability of the pouch cells that were available when we were building Maker, and because the readily available sources were Chinese suppliers. Those concerns obviously would have presented a number of problems from a safety, certification, defense, and tariff perspective. That's what led to our decision to partner with Molicel on an aviation-specific variant of their cylindrical cell that offers both high power and energy density while also being exceptionally safe, reliable, and scalable. This has been key to putting us in a position to certify our battery pack and scale our powertrain manufacturing. This cylindrical cell is being used by others across the industry, including Beta. The advantage we, the FAA, Molicel, and Beta get from this joint effort is the sharing of test and reliability data across programs. We were deliberate about both of these choices, as aviation has long design and development cycles, and the need to redesign for these types of reasons can result in years of delay. Focusing on a commercially viable product has been core to the mission of Archer. The aircraft testing we have been doing leading up to our planned early deployment in the UAE is critical for ensuring safety, and it's just one of the facets of the larger team effort we have underway in the UAE to support our launch plans. In addition to the aircraft, our team is working with local government and industry partners across the other 5 key building blocks for launch. Building block number 1, government support. And the government of Abu Dhabi has been incredibly helpful in launching in the UAE. In particular, the Abu Dhabi Investment Office and 2 of the country's largest sovereign wealth funds, which have invested in Archer. Building block number 2, regulatory pathway. This support from ADIO and those investors has helped us forge a great partnership with the nation's regulator, the GCAA, to carve out a regulatory framework to certify Midnight. Our teams are collaborating through joint working sessions in both UAE and California, and the GCAA is closely tracking all the progress we are making with Midnight as they work with us on the pathway to begin flying passengers in country. Building block number 3, operating partner. Earlier this year, we announced that Abu Dhabi Aviation, the region's largest helicopter operator, was signing on to be our first Launch Edition customer. Over the last quarter, our teams have been working together hand in hand to map out our initial network operations within the country. We are close to having alignment on the first dozen nodes, and we'll be sharing more on this soon. Building block number 4, pilot training. Archer and ADA are working together with Etihad, one of the world's leading operators of aviation training, to recruit and train pilots and prepare local MRO facilities. In fact, we just delivered the first Midnight flight simulator to Etihad. The plan is for it to reside at their headquarters in Abu Dhabi as we are jointly training pilots for our aircraft in the region. Building block number 5, infrastructure. Finally, we're collaborating with numerous partners to ready a handful of Abu Dhabi's 70-plus existing helipads for eVTOL operations. This is an example of how we can rapidly stand up takeoff and landing infrastructure without significant spend or regulatory work. Stay tuned for a lot more excitement to come as we continue to gain momentum in the UAE. Other potential early adopter markets are taking stock of what they are seeing from us in the UAE, and we're seeing demand in a number of other countries for our Launch Edition program. For example, earlier this quarter, we announced our second Launch Edition customer, Ethiopian Airlines, one of United's key partners in the Star Alliance, with the plan being to establish UAM's first foothold in East Africa's rapidly growing aviation market. Expect to see more of these strategic partnerships from us. In parallel to our tremendous progress overseas, we continue to see strong momentum here in the U.S. Just last month in New York City, we jointly hosted an event with United, bringing together key regulatory, municipal, and industry leaders to unveil our shared vision for our initial New York City network. Thank you to the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey, as well as the New York Economic Development Council for their continued support and partnership. As a longtime New Yorker, I'm deeply passionate about the impact our Midnight aircraft could have on the commutes for those who live in and visit Manhattan. We designed our network to take advantage of the existing aviation infrastructure in the New York area, including all three major international airports, Manhattan's three urban heliports, including the newly dubbed Downtown Skyport, and important regional hubs such as Teterboro and Westchester. To support our launch plans, we continue to ramp up manufacturing across our facilities in Silicon Valley and Georgia, both of which are now fully operational. I look forward to sharing more milestones as we continue to scale those capabilities. This quarter, I spent a significant time in Washington, D.C. with senior lawmakers, including Secretary of Transportation Sean Duffy and Acting FAA Administrator Chris Rocheleau. Just in the last few weeks, we've had important conversations with key members of the House and Senate leadership, including Senator Ted Cruz, who leads the Congressional Subcommittee on Aviation Safety, Operations, and Innovation, as well as important White House leaders, including Michael Kratsios, Director of the Office of Science, Technology, and Policy. With all the recent announcements from this administration, it is clear that they are committed to rapidly upgrading America's commercial and defense aviation technologies to ensure we retain our global leadership. I'm proud that Archer is in a position to play a leading role in that effort. This comes in the form of ramping up our aircraft manufacturing here in the U.S., safely launching commercial air taxi operations in major cities across the U.S., designing and building the next generation of defense aircraft here in the U.S., and utilizing AI to build the future systems that will power our country's airspace. I'm also grateful that Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth and his team are supportive of modernizing our fleet through efforts such as our Archer Defense Initiative. We continue to deepen our exclusive partnership with Anduril as we work in earnest to mature the design for our first joint product, a hybrid electric autonomous VTOL that is targeting a program of record. As I've indicated before, because of the nature of this work, I cannot share more at this time, but will as soon as I'm able. What I can share is that this technology's compelling dual-use potential is already attracting significant interest from leaders across both civil and defense sectors. Additionally, we recently executed on two strategic acquisitions that we believe will help accelerate Archer Defense. First, we acquired a key IP portfolio from an industry player. Second, we acquired a specialized high-performance composite manufacturing facility tailored for defense applications, significantly strengthening our capabilities. This quarter, we also took a decisive step forward on our software plans, partnering with Palantir to jointly architect the AI foundation for what we believe can be the next generation of aviation systems across manufacturing, operations, movement control, and route planning. This collaboration has the opportunity to be a key contributor to our country's ambitious vision, modernizing our aviation ecosystem in record time so that we can ensure that we continue to safely manage the ever-growing volumes of air traffic we are seeing and lay the foundation for the scale we plan to achieve with urban air mobility. We end Q1 maintaining over $1 billion of liquidity, the highest cash balance in the industry. As I said last quarter, we still remain in the early innings of a generational opportunity. Our team is relentless in its commitment to build. I can't wait to continue to showcase it for all of you. Over to Tom. I'll kick off with the most exciting news. We're entering the next phase of our Midnight aircraft program, operating with a pilot. We have already begun Midnight's piloted testing as we complete the ground test campaign and are on track to start piloted flights with our latest Midnight aircraft over the next week. This milestone is the culmination of years of effort that has gone into verifying that the hardware and software on our Midnight aircraft are safe to fly with people on board. I'll walk you through what has gone into getting us here, highlighting that most of this testing needs to be done once in advance of piloted flight, rather than being repeated for each airplane we build from here on out. To prepare Midnight for piloted flight, the team first executed an extensive lab and ground test campaign covering all core aircraft functionalities, including high voltage battery and propulsion systems. Over the last couple months, this has included weeks of incremental restrained ground tests, methodically ramping engine power, refining propeller balance, and achieving maximum thrust while the aircraft remained safely tethered. We then moved into ground handling tests, again taking an incremental approach, validating braking, handling, and incrementally increasing speeds towards flight readiness, putting us firmly on track to begin piloted flights imminently. Our test aircraft are extensively instrumented with a custom-built specialized flight test instrumentation system composed of a myriad of sensors and software to capture critical data for testing and certification. For example, we've equipped Midnight with hundreds of strain gauges measuring structural integrity, accelerometers capturing vibration data, and an extensive array of temperature sensors, all supplementing the data gathered by the core systems on the aircraft that will be utilized in normal commercial operations. In total, Midnight now measures over 40,000 data parameters. The ability to capture and process this data is critical to our company testing and certification flight testing. It's crucial to recognize that our transition to the piloted phase of our flight testing program builds upon extensive unmanned and transition testing with Midnight, validating the safety of the aircraft in all stages of flight prior to putting a pilot on board. Over the past several years, we've completed hundreds of Midnight flights, rigorously evaluating everything from crosswind hover performance and complex transition trajectories to severe failure scenarios.
Don't forget to hit the like button.
Last year,
It's
we
very important
successfully
for this video
demonstrated
to get
Midnight's
shared.
ability to complete a flight during a propulsion system shutdown in one of the engines, showcasing the redundancy we get from our proprietary 12 tilt 6 configuration. We shared a photo of that in our shareholder letter today, and we'll soon be sharing footage of that test flight later this week, where you'll be able to see how the aircraft responded to this failure mode, flawlessly performing a smooth transition and landing, exactly as designed. The safe and successful testing of Midnight is what gives us confidence in our path ahead on early deployments and FAA certification, particularly for our upcoming plans with our Launch Edition program in the UAE and other countries. As Adam mentioned, we plan to send one of the aircraft from our California facilities to the UAE later this summer for region-specific testing and deployment later in the year. On the certification front, we've made continued progress alongside the FAA to finalize the remaining compliance areas that I've highlighted in previous quarters. I'm pleased to report the FAA has now aligned industry standards addressing total propulsion loss that's covered in our Rule 2105G. And these clarified standards were as we expected, meaning they do not result in any necessary modifications to Midnight's design. This was not an Archer-specific rule, but rather an industry rule that everyone was waiting for closure on. As we transition into piloted flight and prepare for formal TIA testing, expect a marked acceleration of compliance validation with both the FAA and GCAA regulatory bodies. Scaling up our ability to build aircraft also continues to advance rapidly. We have multiple aircraft being assembled across both our Georgia and California facilities, scheduled to begin piloted flight testing later this year. During our aircraft builds, we have leveraged many of the manufacturing systems we've put together to enable the scaling of our manufacturing, and are taking the time to learn and improve these so that we have a stable foundation to support our production ramp in the future. Lastly, on the new hybrid aircraft program with Anduril, our engineering teams are integrated and working well together. We've recently passed key milestones that give me confidence we're on a great path to build an amazing product. As my 9th VTOL aircraft under development, this new platform leverages core powertrain and software innovations we've perfected at Archer. We remain bullish on this initiative's potential and believe it can be a substantial component of Archer's business portfolio moving forward. And now I'll turn it over to Priya to talk about the financials for the quarter.
Thanks, Tom. So, as Adam discussed earlier, Our focus this year remains on investing in the rapid development and commercialization of our business, while staying disciplined with cash management as we work to get to significant revenue-generating operations as soon as possible. As you know, during the first quarter of 2025, we closed on an additional approximately $300 million of equity capital. That round of financing to get to enabled us to exit Q1 2025 with our highest ever quarter-end balance of $1.03 billion in cash and cash equivalents, putting us in the strongest cash position in our industry. This cash position excludes the additional funding of up to $400 million that Stellantis has preliminarily agreed to fund to support the scaling of Midnight aircraft production. With regards to our spending for the quarter, we maintained strategic investments across three critical focus areas. First, advancing the development, certification, and testing of our Midnight aircraft. Second, scaling our aircraft build capabilities. And third, establishing in-country presence and operational infrastructure in the UAE to support our launch activities there later this year and into next. These investments support our commercialization roadmap. Our Q1 2025 financial results were in line with our guidance. We reported an adjusted EBITDA loss of $109 million, falling within our guided range of $95 to $110 million. This represents a $14.2 million increase from the previous quarter, reflecting planned investments in personnel and material spend for aircraft build and components to support those critical focus areas. Our GAAP operating expenses for Q1 25 were $144 million, which increased $20 million over previous quarter due to the increased headcount and material spend mentioned earlier. This included approximately $30 million of non-cash stock-based compensation. With regards to cash burn, our cash used in operations and investing activities for Q1 25 was $104.6 million. This included approximately $5 million of remaining spend from the work to complete the build-out of our ARC facility, excluding which our quarterly cash burn stayed consistent around the $100 million per quarter estimate as previously discussed. Despite these core investments, we increased our quarter-end cash position by $196 million compared to year-end 2024 and more than doubled our cash balance year over year. Notably, this marks our third consecutive quarter of simultaneously growing our cash reserves while advancing our strategic business objectives. Looking ahead, our 2025 priorities will remain focused on the following key initiatives: advancing Midnight aircraft certification, testing, and manufacturing capabilities, rapidly progressing our defense aircraft and software platform development, and successfully rolling out our Midnight Launch Edition program in the UAE and beyond. We approach these objectives with confidence, backed by exceptional internal talent, strong strategic partnerships, and a secure capital foundation. For the upcoming quarter, Q2 2025, we estimate an adjusted EBITDA loss between $100 to $120 million to support the focus areas I talked about earlier. As highlighted in previous earnings discussions, our strong financial position is enabling us to accelerate strategic investments in these areas, helping us create what we believe is a defensible moat between us and our competition. We are making marked progress on several of these high-value projects, such as the acquisition of the composites-related assets and the IP portfolio acquisition that Adam mentioned earlier. And given the strength of our cash position, we anticipate bolstering our Q2 2025 capital expenditures by approximately $15 to $20 million beyond Q1 25 levels to help strengthen our market leadership position. Our strategic approach to US-based sourcing and manufacturing has significantly shielded us from the current tariff uncertainties affecting global trade. Our domestic-first approach to our supply chain helps us minimize the potential for disruption. We continue actively monitoring policy developments to ensure we can respond appropriately to changes while maintaining business stability and cost efficiency in this developing macroeconomic environment. With that, I'll turn it back over to Adam for Q&A. Adam?
Thanks, Priya. We had a bunch of retail questions that were submitted, but most were answered in the prepared remarks. So after the analyst questions, any of those questions remain, I'll address them at that point. So for now, let's open up the call to Q&A. Operator?
Thank you. If you'd like to queue for a question, you can do so by pressing star 1 on your telephone keypad. If for any reason you'd like to remove your question, it's star 2. But again, to join the question queue, please press star 1. It has been asked that you hold yourself to one question with a follow-up question. Our first question is from Andres Sheppard with Cantor Fitzgerald. Your line is now open.
Hey, everyone. Thank you for taking our questions and congrats on all the progress. Adam, wanted to maybe touch on launching in the UAE by year-end. Just curious if you can maybe help share your vision as to what that might look like. So by now we know, some of the hybrid heliports, we know some of the routes, but just curious if you can maybe enlighten us as to how you see that launch developing and how we should think about as we get closer and closer. Thank you.
Thanks, Andres. The UAE is really all about early commercial launch. It's a chance for the world to see these aircraft. It's a chance for the world to see how these aircraft will handle in different conditions. And it's a chance for us all really to learn. So you could expect this to be a low level of operations with a handful of aircraft going back and forth from established point-to-point operations. And really, a way for Archer to start deploying aircraft in a very safe but also very efficient manner. I'll let Tom give a brief introduction on how we plan to get there and give a little more color on the path.
Yeah, sure. So the first thing to keep in mind, Andreas, is the certification pathway there is really well laid out between us and the GCAA. And we've been executing on that over the last couple of quarters, which has been great. Much of that work overlaps with what we're already doing with FAA, and so it's really just giving us, another source to deliver the data that we've been gathering for certification. Another thing to keep in mind is we're partnered with Abu Dhabi Aviation in the UAE, and so they're ultimately going to be the group operating these aircraft out there, with us delivering vehicles, selling vehicles to them in this launch initial program. So to give you a sense for what you can expect to see over the next several months is, first, we're going to deliver an aircraft to the UAE later this summer. We'll start by doing some incremental testing out there, mostly doing things like validating performance in the higher temperature environment. Then we'll move on to approving routes on our intended networks in Abu Dhabi and the broader UAE, and then ultimately working towards carrying passengers again with Abu Dhabi Aviation.
Wonderful. Thanks, Adam. Thanks, Tom. And maybe just as a quick follow-up regarding the launch edition. So, Abu Dhabi Aviation will be the first customer, as previously disclosed. You've mentioned now that Ethiopian Airlines will be maybe its second customer. Just curious if you can maybe share with us how you see that customer and that commercialization developing and maybe some timing around that. Thank you.
Thanks, Andres. There are actually a lot of countries and partners that have been interested in the launch edition program. And so we are focused on balancing the deliveries to launch edition customers alongside our own testing here in California. And so we'll have more to report on that coming in the next few months and quarters. And so I will save it for that.
We have a question from Edison Yu with Deutsche Bank. Your line is now open.
Hi, thank you for taking our question. I had a follow-up just on launch.
any sense on how to think about the growth of that in terms of revenue over the next few years? Is that something that could be, tens of millions of dollars per quarter?
Anderson, this is Adam. So the launch edition aircraft is really all about early adopter markets. And then, of course, we have, the FAA big Western markets as well. And so it's a way for us to be able to deploy aircraft pretty much on a basis of us being able to manufacture them. So it will turn into a manufacturing question here. And so, yes, you can think about it in terms of the ability to generate a significant amount of revenue, but also really trying to get aircraft out into the wild and proving a bunch of their capabilities and learning from that in a very safe environment. So there are lots of countries around the world, lots of markets around the world that are interested in this, and it's a good way for us to, get the aircraft out there.
Understood. And then just on the AI-based efforts, I think you alluded to, upgrading the infrastructure in the U.S. What could a potential go-to-market of that look like? Would you be working with the airlines that you're partnered with, or is it more working directly with FAA?
So Archer, of course, has a lot of partners in the airline industry, and we've been working with them to really understand the different capabilities that they have as we look to build out our own internal capabilities. So, for example, movement control. We have our own movement control app that we've been building. As we've gone deeper into these discussions with our partners, it was very apparent that there is a great opportunity to involve in a much larger scale operation. So taking a lot of the software that we've built internally and finding different ways to actually monetize it with some of our partners or just the general broader aviation industry. So we announced a partnership with Palantir, which kind of covers a couple core areas. The first one is in scaling manufacturing. We are building a factory of the future that can scale to thousands and hopefully tens of thousands of aircraft or more. But this will require a new way of manufacturing aircraft that heavily relies on software. The second is building the aviation infrastructure of the future, which is what you're mentioning. And so we have several products in development that could have substantial impact to our business and to the broader aviation industry. And as we develop more and those products mature, we'll be happy to share those.
Our next question is from Josh Sullivan with The Benchmark Company. Your line is now open.
Hey, good evening. I know commenting on the Andrew. I know commenting on the Andrew partnership's sensitive at this point in time, but curious as we look at some of the initial, skinny defense budgets or other items out there, any supporting programs we can see externally at this point?
Yeah, as I've mentioned, Josh, I appreciate the question. We're limited just in the nature that we are able to say, but what I can say is the hybrid eVTOL program has achieved several internal milestones that have really given us a lot of confidence internally that this will become a major part of our business. And it really fits into the messaging of a lot of what this administration talks about of building, aircraft of the future. And so I think that this is going to be an exciting part of our business, but more to come on that.
Got it. And then maybe as a related follow-up, as you deepen your relationships in the Middle East and with other international entities, what conversations are you having as it pertains to the defense aspects of either that partnership or generally?
Yeah, we've actually had a lot of inquiries from a bunch of our partners and a bunch of the countries that we've been talking to. But as a reminder, the way the relationship with Andrew is structured, Archer is manufacturing the aircraft and then effectively will sell the aircraft to Andrew, who is representing the customers. So all the customer-based conversations run through Andrew, and I think Andrew is very well equipped to handle those types of conversations. So it's probably a question that's better more directed towards them. And so I appreciate it, but there's not much more I could share.
Got it. Well, thank you for the time.
Thanks.
Our next question is from Bill Peterson with JP Morgan. Your line is now open.
Yeah, good afternoon, and thanks for taking the questions.
In the last quarter, you had talked at the time that pilots and flights would be coming soon, and I think there was an expectation it might have been happening within that quarter. And now you're saying imminent. I'm curious of maybe what kind of caused any sort of 1 or 2 month delay, if any, and maybe you could just elaborate on what's required now between piloted tests, any final checks ahead of the milestone. Just basically elaborate on your flight testing program from here.
Yeah, absolutely, Bill. So we expect the first piloted flight to take place within days. And we've had the aircraft out on the airport, doing piloted testing for weeks at this point. And we've got a lot of confidence that we'll be in the air soon. Taking a step back, all of this testing we're doing now is really based off of, the hundreds of flights over the last year and a half or so that we've done on the unmanned midnight aircraft. And now we're just, putting a pilot on board and continuing the testing. But to get at your question, one of the main differences between this aircraft and the previous one is how heavily we've instrumented it with flight test instrumentation, hardware, and software. And so I mentioned earlier on the call, we're measuring it's over 40,000 parameters on this aircraft. And so just to be straight up, it was a lot trickier than we thought to get that system working. And, that caused a modest delay. But the good news is we're through this now, and we've got a lot of confidence that we'll be in the air very shortly.
Okay, yeah, great. Thanks for that. And maybe a bit of a mid and longer term question. It's also about the hybrid program, but potentially being positioned for passenger. I guess you mentioned earlier, potential use cases in civil. I guess on one hand, I'm envisioning maybe with a more complex powertrain, it could represent a longer cert time. But on the other hand, with all the heavy lifting that you and others in the industry are doing on batteries, perhaps it won't be as onerous. I guess just trying to consider if you would maybe consider a hybrid variant or even maybe a short takeoff and landing, within the passenger segment in the not too distant future, given I think some of the focus on fully electric may have had more, support in a different administration, while, hybrid certainly can open up the envelope, including for longer range.
You're very observant, Bill, and yes, that is I'll just call it a good observation. We are considering lots of different potentials for the powertrain of that aircraft, including both civil and defense applications.
Our next question is from Savi Syth with Raymond James. Your line is now open.
Hey, good afternoon. If I might ask, I think on the last call, you had mentioned, Tom, that there were some issue papers that the FAA had to close out. Does the one that you talked about standardizing, the propulsion launch, does that address all of them? Or are there still some pending? And does that then affect your planning on building additional certification aircraft?
Yep. Hey, Savi. Thanks for the question. So we did, as I mentioned earlier in the call, resolve the total loss of propulsion issue paper with FAA. And so that unlocks the vast majority of the remaining, kind of small percentage of compliance items that have been open. And so with that now behind us, we can really kind of just get back and execute. And so that positions us really well with FAA for the next coming months. And I think you'll see a marked increase in performance over the rest of the year.
So kind of on that production, so that hasn't been something that's holding you back on production? So that's not tied to kind of waiting on that, and production's kind of going ahead? Without,
Adam,
how you can work
Yeah, I think I understand the nature of the question. You can always build at risk. I think the good news of the issue paper that Tom was referring to was it did not result in any changes that we had to make, and I think we had accurately built that. But it does give us more confidence to accelerate some of our plans. And so it's just a balance of what you want to build. Again, this was not something unique to Archer. This was an industry-wide issue paper. And so, we're fortunate that it came out the way that we thought it would. But it is the unlock that we needed to, keep things moving.
Perfect. Thank you.
We have a question from Austin Moeller with Canaccord. Your line is now open.
Hi, good afternoon, Adam and Priya. Just my first question here. So in the skinny budget, there was $1.2 billion added to FAA spending for personnel additions and infrastructure upgrades. How might this benefit you either from a cert perspective or support your plans with Palantir and air traffic management?
Hey, Austin, I think it's early to judge that at this point. I think we've had good traction with the FAA to date through what it's been. So anything additional that gets added, I think is we'll be happy to receive that. But I think it's early to give any comments on any of that yet.
Okay. And can you comment on the production scaling, and is that still on track for 2 aircraft per month by end of year?
So a lot of this has to do with us balancing our ability to do testing internally with delivering aircraft. And so we have a lot of aircraft that are in production right now, as well as additional aircraft parts that are on order. And we're just really trying to balance that, the ability to deploy versus the ability to manufacture. There's also a lot of lessons that are being learned in terms of manufacturing and really trying to refine the manufacturing process that will enable us to scale. The goal really is to make sure that we can do it efficiently and then also do it in a very economical way. So we are ramping up those capabilities, but again, that's just all balanced against deployment.
Great, thanks. I'll pass it back there.
We have a question from David Zazula with Barclays. Your line is now open.
Hey, good afternoon. Thanks for taking my question. Tom, just to piggyback a little bit on Savi's question earlier, you mentioned the loss of propulsion finalization unlocks some testing. Could you give us a preview on what sort of things that unlocks and what sort of progress you might be able to make based on that?
Yeah, sure, David. So as we showed in the shareholder letter, we have a picture from a test actually from the end of last year where we were testing the aircraft with loss of propulsion system, so one of the engines. And you'll see in video we'll release later this week that aircraft reacted really well to that test. And so that's just one example, honestly, of the hundreds of tests we've done over the last couple of years on that vehicle. And so now we're getting back into this next phase of testing with pilots on board, repeating a lot of the same expansion, working towards TIA. And so it's kind of just business as usual execution mode.
Very helpful. I think a couple of times you've used the word market progress towards certification. Can you expand a little bit or give investors some way that they can kind of monitor the progress towards this market improvement, both on the FAA and GCA side?
Sure. Well, in general, our job is to build a safe aircraft we can take to market. And, it's up to the FAA for when the vehicle will be certified and all of that. But we're making great progress. So we showed in our shareholder letter, FAA has now accepted about 15% of the final kind of V&V documents that support that certification. And with the opening up of that 2105G issue paper, now a lot of the remaining other areas are available to build conforming hardware and start executing all the tests for credit, working towards TIA. And so I think it's really just the culmination of all of these things coming together, along with the fact that, as you've highlighted before, we've taken this, I think, really good strategy of leveraging parts that have certification heritage from vendors that have cert experience and putting them in a vehicle that's certifiable and manufacturable and is heavy enough to carry a pilot and 4 passengers.
Bollocks.
And so now we're just executing on that path. And other part of your question that you mentioned is, yes, it's true. Now we also have UAE work going on. And so the team is very much balancing our focus across, go-to-market and launch with the GCAA, as well as with the FAA. But the good news there is that it's almost the same work, just sort of different customers for the data. So hopefully that gives you some color.
That is, I mean, would we expect a potential, quantification on the GCAA side similar to what we're getting on the FAA side at some point?
Hey, David, this is Adam. I don't have a good answer for you that today. I think there's just some sensitivities there and how that, and how that's all being collected. But we'll follow up and get back to you on that.
Awesome. Thanks, Adam. Have a great one.
We have a question from Chris Pierce with Needham. Your line is now open.
Hey, good afternoon. I know you can't comment on what you're building with Andrew, but can you talk about, how should we feel about your confidence in your ability to build it as you sort of, figure out, flesh out what's actually going to happen? Like, is it supplemental to the production guidance you gave in the 2Q letter last year, or is it related to the acquisitions you made on that you kind of flagged, or like, what's the right way to think about production to the extent you can talk about that?
Hey, Chris. So what we are looking to build is a vehicle that can have both dual use, civil and defense application, that reuses as much as possible from the existing program we have today with a hybrid powertrain. And so that gives us the ability to be able to build a lot of vehicles because we already have a hot line that's running on the civil side as we're using a lot of that. So hopefully that gives you a perspective of, it's not something totally out of left field that we're building. It's something that, makes sense based on like what stuff Archer is building and makes sense versus, what the Midnight aircraft is. And yes, it is expected that we will be able to build these aircraft out of the Georgia facility, and we can flex between the civil side and the defense side, and give upside to the ability to deliver more aircraft, if we're able to build and there are programs that are in place.
Okay, and just thank you for that. On the longer flight times of the greater mileage, is this something where I'm just trying to picture someone being in a helicopter for a hour flight? Is that something that, I guess, would you push back that that's what it would feel like, or I just want to get a better sense of how this can sort of go into regional air travel? Can it, or is it the more modifications need to be made?
Yeah, so if you're asking about use cases that hybrid, VTOL could potentially have, there are longer helicopter missions that are used today. So, for example, servicing, oil rigs is a good one that are typically, further than typical eVTOL range. There are other examples that are more cargo-based that could have longer ranges that are use case. There's also some civil cases. I do think the civil side will likely be limited by not range of the aircraft, but willingness of a consumer to sit in a vehicle for a certain period of time, meaning I don't think somebody's going to want to sit for 5 hours, but they may be willing to sit 2 hours. So I think there are limitations there that we will learn as we take products and go get them out. I do think there are good go-to-market use cases on the civil side that we will certainly explore, and it will just open up the ability to deliver aircraft.
Okay, thank you.
Our next question is from Amit Dayal with H.C. Wainwright. Your line is now open.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. My question, guys, is around just the aircraft costs. Just wanted to see if you can share any color on how the aircraft build costs are tracking against, expectations you might have had 12 months ago, especially in the context of all these tariffs, etc. Are you close to, what you may have been anticipating, or, are you not maybe tracking as closely? Just wanted to see if you can share any color on that. Thank you.
Sure. So it's obviously early in the sense that we're building in very low volumes. So I wouldn't expect to see some significant, cost performance when you're building, let's call it in the, single or low double digits of aircraft. I think it's when you start to get to a larger scale that you see those benefits. What we've said historically is that, we think around the 250 level of aircraft builds is where we can get to our target gross margins. And so that's something that we still believe is true. From a tariff perspective, most of our systems are built or manufactured here in the U.S., so I think there is a limited exposure from that. And so we don't see that having a material impact at this point.
Thank you. That's all I have, Adam. Appreciate it.
I'll now turn the call back over to Adam Goldstein for any closing remarks.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for joining the call today. I am super proud of what the team has been able to accomplish, but this is just the beginning. 2025 is an inflection point for the company and for the industry. I'm excited to share more in the weeks and months ahead. Let's keep building.
That concludes today's call. Thank you all for your participation. You may now disconnect your line.
Okay, that was interesting. Let me know in the comments what you see as the biggest upside, as the biggest surprise. I see definitely the almost $200 million coming or appearing on their balance sheet. I definitely see the piloted flights progress as a massive upside. We haven't had any surprises, but we heard a lot of positive news, a lot of confirmation. Compared to the previous call, we had a lot of confirmation. Yet, I think ACHR have a lot work to get done. And I wouldn't be surprised if we sell off tomorrow after hours. Again, it's not financial advice. I told you before that there was, if you were to follow me for financial advice, you would have missed the little pump on the closing bell. But I wouldn't be surprised if we sell off tomorrow and if the stock goes sideways for some time. So let you speak. What are you saying? Top secret? Yeah, there's a lot of stuff they just can't disclose for strategic and probably for security reasons as well. Yes, Martin, I see it. Been a really good call, extremely bullish. Tariffs, true, yeah. Okay, any more? Elba. Thank you, Jerry and Elba. We got another super chat. So unless you have any more comments or any more suggestions, let's have a look at the chart again for the last time. Yeah, it's not doing much. So unless you have any more comments or any more suggestions, I will be keeping an eye on the chat. Tomorrow morning, Sensei breakfast show. Or is it? Sorry, Martin. I'm not. I don't know whether Sensei is first or I am first. Martin, can you enlighten me, please? And then we will keep an eye on the chart once again. I can't see any chats coming, so I take it you would need a bit of time to digest it, as I will. I'll definitely be doing a washdown video tomorrow morning. Right from this stream, if you click on the link, that will take you to extra. Is it extra channel? No, that will take you to the XRP SEC video, the roundtable. And now I see update from Martin. Sensei, if Sensei is first, then you, then Martin. Okay, so sorry about that. I misunderstood. So first live thing in the morning tomorrow morning, Sensei with his breakfast show. Definitely ask him for ACHR chart and ask him for vertical aerospace chart. I think Sensei will have some updates to what you could see in the video before the call. And vertical aerospace, you definitely want to see it, how you can trade it, what you can do. I'll give you some, don't want to say insider information, but sort of insider information for your potential trades. Then vertical aerospace, exclusive live show covering the first quarter 25 earnings call. We are the only channel covering vertical aerospace, so you don't want to miss this. We had massive news today dropping. I think the earnings call will be fairly good, if not very good. I don't think we will see much negative. If you are not interested in the stock, definitely join in for great and absolutely professional presentation. There's probably a handful of companies who can pull off such a great presentation. And then Martyn is live with the opening bell. I see nobody is saying anything in the chat anymore. You think they will be able to land and take off from the city in the near future? Yes, yes. And I think as early as 2027, maybe end of 2026. You will definitely see them by 2028. 2028 will be a breakthrough, or the breakthrough year for the eVTOL technology. A lot of manufacturers are targeting their operations to commence their operations. A lot of manufacturers are targeting their certification for 2028. Let's not forget about Los Angeles 2028 Olympics. ACHR want to be operational during the Olympics or around the Olympics, as well as Joby. And we know from my previous videos that Joby have a great chance to be an official vehicle. The actual aircraft S4 has a chance to be official vehicle through Delta Airlines, who are the main sponsor of the 2028 Los Angeles Olympic Games. Okay, that's it. Tomorrow morning, first thing in the morning, Sensei, don't forget to ask him about the ACHR chart and ask him about Vertical Aerospace. Then Vertical Aerospace, the exclusive presentation and show, live show. Amazing presentation, you don't want to miss this. And then leading on to Martyn, to the opening bell. That's it from me. Thank you everyone for watching me. Thank you for joining me. We had a lot of likes, good audience through the call. A lot of super chats. Jerry and Elba, one more. Thank you very much. That's it. Take care of yourselves and each other.